Hello and welcome to the first cast of 2018. Thanks guys for tuning in today. We're going to be starting off with Jaedong versus Flash. What a great way to start off the new year. This is part of a team battle that Jaedong was doing with a couple of other pro gamers on stream on earlier today actually. Let's see, I believe it is Jaedong versus the other team had Flash, had Sulky, Effort, and Stork. So obviously playing against some pretty tough opponents, and foremost among them is Flash, of course. Jaedong always struggling a little bit in the ZVT matchup ever since he's come back, but we'll see if he can actually take on Flash in this clan war. Flash recently has been going back to the roots of I Love Uv and also copying a little bit from from Sok, using the 1-1-1 build in the TVZ matchup. You can actually read about this on teamliquid.net. There was a really good article about that recently. But it's something that Flash has definitely been using a lot more often. He's been going for this 1-1-1 build that kind of controls the map with Vulture Wraith and forces the Zerg to kind of deviate into Hydra Tech in order to deal with this, which greatly slows down their ability to actually control the skies and get a third base up, because the +1 5-Rex has slowly been figured out over the past year. Like 2016 was a very difficult year for Zerg starting out. They started out really trying to deal with this heavy marine medic pressure, and in the end, the best response basically that all the Zerg players found was, hey, let's just take a very fast third and just micro our Mutalisk better. And that was really all that it took to start shutting down that sort of play. Jaedong luckily getting the scout off with his first drone. Gonna be able to check in here, sees the gas going up, so he knows it's gonna be a 1-1-1 play coming out from Flash. He's gonna go ahead and take a relatively early gas instead of going up to that triple hatch. Gonna allow him to quickly either go for the 2-hatch muta play, which has kind of seen a resurgence against this, or he's just going to be going into a little bit faster Hydras. He can go ahead and get all of that ground space. He also has potential to actually bust his opponent with those Hydras early on. It's actually a really solid play. You see he sent down a very early drone to his expansion. That's going to be for a block on the ramp, maybe a potential early sunken colony. Does unfortunately let up the SCV, so Flash is going to get full scouting information over here. Jaedong does manage to at least get a couple of pot shots onto that SCV, so it'll be a little bit weaker, but at this point Flash has all the information he needs. He knows that it's going to be that gas opening for Jaedong, the very fast lair, so he's not going to be at all surprised like if he goes up against something like very fast Mutalisk or anything like that. There's that very fast Sunken. The Sunken going down at 16. That's to counter the very fast Vulture that might be coming in by about 23 or 24 supply. So very well done by Jaedong overall. He's going to be scouting in while continuing to drone up. He's definitely skipped a little bit on the Lings early on, but when you know your opponent's going to be going for this 1-1-1 build, you're not as worried about getting lots of Lings up. You don't really need the map control, and building a lot of Lings versus early Vultures doesn't really get you very far. So at this point, it's just a matter of playing the waiting game, getting a little bit of scouting information with this Overlord, and just waiting until you can go ahead and get up that third hatch and the Spire coming up pretty soon. So very nicely done. I love this wall down at Jaedong's natural. This is something that we don't typically see in ZVT. Usually you always want to have your third hatch away from your natural. You want to make sure it doesn't get sieged down, etc., etc. But in this case, it creates a very nice wall against Vultures, kind of forces them to walk through the middle line in order to actually get any damage done. So this is a very smart play. Does scout out the first Vulture sitting over there. He's going to know exactly what's going on. Is there an expansion yet? Looks like there is. So Jaedong knows that he's not in danger of an all-in right now. He's going to be able to continue droning and start saving up for those Mutalisks coming up pretty soon. Meanwhile, Flash is probably going to be taking to a Wraith coming up pretty soon. So I'm curious if Jaedong is going to go very heavily into the 2-hatch meta, or if he's just going to make a pair of Scourge to ward off any potential Wraith play, and then switch into mostly just a Ling Hydra composition. Looks like the first Wraith is out. Going to be able to pick off this Overlord for free. Very annoying thing, and there's not really a whole lot you can do about it. The drone's trying to get over here to block while the Sunken Colony does some damage, but unfortunately the drone's getting caught and not doing as much damage as they possibly could. Gonna be able to clean this up, but at the cost of a lot of drones. That was very good for Flash overall. So the Wraith's gonna come over here, start doing a little bit of micro, start being a little bit annoying. Luckily we do have the trick where you can go ahead and start building Sunkens and get away with that. That's going to allow him to keep those alive for a little bit longer. But he's definitely got to be careful about how he handles this, make sure that they don't get picked off for free. And finally, we have the Mutalisk out, so the Wraiths are going to be warded away, especially with these groups of Scourge. They're going to be coming along with Mutas. And this is actually a lot of firepower very early on. There isn't a lot of economy for Jaedong, but he definitely has the upper hand with these Mutalisks. He's going to be able to start forcing away all of these Wraiths. That's going to allow him to start... Oh, nice pickoff on the first Wraith. That is really good for him. And overall, pretty good micro, but not going to be able to get on top of that missile turret before it starts getting repaired. Overall, good defense by Flash so far. And back at home, Jaedong is a little bit worried about a potential run-by with these Vultures. However, Flash's defense so far has been pretty immaculate. At this point, it's just a matter of Jaedong trying to pick off as many SCVs as possible while building up his own worker count. He did find the science vessel, but it's difficult for him to actually get to it. The micro is really good from Flash right now. Jaedong having to pull out, and he's lost a lot in that engagement. He was able to keep his opponent pinned back while he just spammed tons and tons of drones off of these 3 hatches, but he lost a lot of Mutalisks in the process, and as a result, he lost a lot of his map control. It is true that once the Science Vessel with a Radiate is out, the Mutalisks become more or less useless, but still it does force the Irradiate out onto the Mutalisks instead of other units like your power units like the Lurkers, things like that. You did get some scouting information though, so that's at least worth it. Gonna be going ahead and taking a third now, but behind this Flash is gonna be building up a very powerful force of probably Marine Tank. That's usually the follow-up to this build. You have a very strong Marine Tank force. You can do a very early push with Marine Tank and 1 or 2 Science Vessels with Irradiates. So this could be problematic for Jaedong. However, Jaedong is doing a very good job of continuing to control the center of the map, scouting around, making sure his opponent isn't playing too greedy. He's going to try to pick off one of the Science Vessels. Does manage to do it. Very nicely done. Very smart play coming out from Jaedong so far. And behind this, he's actually building up a lot of Hydras. Looks like he was thinking for a moment about going into Hydras, but instead going to be getting the Lurker upgrade. Just going to be going into a very standard Ling Lurker Defiler play to follow this up. More and more of these Scourge coming out. Going to try to pick off a couple more units. Nice little egg block there. We saw, as soon as he saw the Vultures coming in, he definitely was cognizant about doing an egg block there. He's going to be doing an egg block at the ramp as well. Behind this is super annoying though, because Flash has managed to... Oh, nice pick off there with that Spider Mine. But Flash has managed to put Spider Mines all over the map and kind of prevent units from moving around the way that they would really want to. And this one Vulture doing quite a bit of damage, being very annoying. And Jaedong really just has to wait for these Overlords to actually get in position before he can actually do anything. Maybe a little bit of a delayed response, knowing that his opponent was going to be going for this build, but he is slowly adapting, trying to get all those units in position, trying to clean up any of the mines. Gonna lose another Hydralisk, and you can tell he's definitely a little bit perturbed about that. Behind this, he's going to be building up a few more hatcheries. Gonna be trying to get that larva count way up. And meanwhile, he's switching to the Lurker defense. However, behind this, like I said, we have to worry about Flash going for that Marine Tank follow-up, because the only real follow-up to that is you have to have Defilers. It's just, there's no other way to deal with that push other than having Defilers, or having tons and tons of Lurkers and an insane surround. It looks like Jaedong is going to be going into that hive, but I wonder at this point if the defilers are a little bit too late. It's always difficult to tell with these 1-1-1 builds because the amount that everything is delayed really just depends on the individual situation. How much the Zerg player lost early on, how much leeway they were able to get back into the center of the map. There goes the Irradiate onto the Mutalisk, but it's not going to be enough right now. Lots of Lurkers coming out for Jaedong, so at least he's got that going for him, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. So here come the Irradiates. They're going to start coming out. There are a few tanks with this push, though, which means he doesn't need to clean this up with the Irradiates. Honestly, Flash can just very slowly push this and start killing off these Lurkers, and there's not really a whole lot that Jaedong can do about it. The Defilers are too late, and you can tell that Jaedong is a little bit upset. I'm not sure that this is going to be a defense that he can actually hold. He's continuing to make lots of lings, but these are just normal lings. They don't have tons of upgrades. They don't have adrenal glands. Gonna try to go for a big surround on these units, but at this point, it might just be a little bit too late. There's the GG. Well played by Flash. Just utilizing that 1-1-1 build perfectly.